Hello everybody, this is Brandon from Galaxydoc Market. Today is July 21st, 2024. It's Sunday. It's about 6:22 p.m. Eastern Time as I bring you this video. And we've been speculating for the last 3 to 4 weeks that the market was showing a lot of divergences, and that I even said a couple of weeks ago that the market crash slash correction is right around the corner. Well, the market correction is here. And our critical SPY level, 550.73, which would support, it just seemed like this market would continue to rally on due to dislocations caused by our very own Fed. It's now broken. So here's the disclaimer. Read it, pause it. If you agree, please move forward. And of course, my shameless plug on X.com, Galaxydoc Market. Follow us there. I put a lot of good commentary, repost messages, things that will help you with your trading. All right, so on June 26th video, I was warning about the market correction or crash right around the horizon. I said it was right around the horizon, and divergences cannot be ignored. And I said, hey, look, market top is coming. And we continue to do so. And we also talked about last week's video about how the market was pricing in a President Trump landslide victory come November. And then, of course, we had that event, assassination attempt, and that kind of changed the whole perspective. And I wasn't sure, what that actually would have meant, although that probably was, the, quote unquote, the market turn from that event. Now, news keeps getting more spicier and spicier as Joe Biden finally came to his senses and I guess decided not to accept the nomination. And I think it's good for him. In retrospect, I just felt like this was really not the type of way that this guy wanted to go out, but that's what it is. Now, this does put a lot of certainty back into the markets, and in terms of what's going to happen with Joe Biden, and I think it was the right move for him. And but this is a breaking news. This will impact the market going forward, and I'll show you what I think is going to happen going forward for your trading. And then, of course, while this is happening, look here, don't look over there, right? I always said that the world is still on a footing towards World War III or global continuous conflict under this president. And so US B-52 on the first time mission over northern Finland. Okay, so these are our bombers in northern Finland. And of course, Russia scrambling MiG jets. In response, one of these days, there's going to be a flashpoint, and the more they keep pushing the envelope, the closer I believe the world is getting to the war. Okay, so as the clown show continues here in the United States presidential race, as the Rome falls and burns, elsewhere, war drum keeps beating louder and louder. And so the things that you might have missed because of all the Trump assassination, because of all the show that's being shown to you in a reality TV style fashion, and as you fawn over Trump's quote unquote heroic reappearance at the RNC and Joe Biden's buffoonery basically being shown on full spectrum, and now finally his party just disowning him and coming down. As you're caught up in that reality TV show, hedge funds are bailing out. They're degrossing since 2021 meme stock craze, and you know what happened right after that. They're unwinding risk. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the retail investors have been piling in because the market told you so, that this rally was never going to end. And while we've been warning about divergences galore, right? And divergences are present everywhere. So I do want to reiterate, and I think JP Morgan started off the earnings season. We're in week 2, finished the week 2 of earnings season, right? JP Morgan started it off 2 Fridays ago. And they're building reserves, loss reserves of $821 million. and since the crisis of Q2 2023. And this is the flashpoint, folks. JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, has been very, very bearish on the markets and in banking sectors overall. And we'll go over the XLF and my favorite, Comerica Bank, reported earnings. We'll go over that also. And I've been warning you about that bank. Okay. So let's go into our sector analysis. And I want to talk about this a little bit at length, because the issue is that the strongest sectors have now basically rotated out. As a whole, the entirety of the stock market is bearish, but the ones you want to focus on obviously are the ones that are below the 20 SMA. So here, blue is in 20 right here. So the 20 SMA is basically stocks that are below there are going to have hell of a time going forward. Oh, that didn't. Here's the one, communication services. I talked about watch the rotation out of communication services, and these are the sectors that you want to be focused on. SPY and also QQQ. Tech is taking it up on the butt, right? 20 SMA. They're now threatening to get below the 50 period moving average. The rest of the stocks, like the industrials, materials, are over their basically the 50 period moving average. Yes, they are turning. So you got to look at these sectors as also a lot of meat on the bones. Surprisingly, consumer staples are very bullish, but they, again, are putting in these doji candles, okay, these long tail candles in healthcare. A lot of opportunities. They're completely above their 50 and 20 SMAs. Utilities even are taking part, and they are bullish in a sense that they're above the 50 SMA, but that's what's happening. The financials, though, completely bullish, way ahead of the game, right? But now they're putting in these reversal candles, and CMA did not help the matters, right? Focus on this XLF. If the powers that be wants to crash the market ahead of the election, especially if they understand that Trump is coming into the presidency, I think they're going to crash the market and then blame it on Trump for later. Whether you agree with that or not, that's what my speculation, and that's what I think is going to happen. Real estate is beginning to turn also. So there's a lot of meat on the bones for the consumer discretionaries, which has been beaten down, but now they're beginning to come below. So if we start to finish the week below this 20 SMA, things are going to get real. Things like Lululemon, Restoration Hardware, all of this stuff. But the consumer destruction, demand destruction will continue on. We'll go over Netflix about their earnings. There's a lot of meat on that bone, folks, and we are short on that name also. All right. Overall, had a fantastic week in terms of catching the market top, but I think this will continue. But if, for those of you that missed this, because you've been asleep or drinking the Kool-Aid from the mainstream media, I want you to understand that you have to wait for a counter trend bounce, and it will come this week. Again, I'm talking about, this is a slide from last week. I said there is bearish rotation in the communication services sector, and boy, did it ever rotate. Okay. Let's start our technical analysis really quick with our McClellan Summation Index. And I mean, it's official, folks. McClellan Summation Index is completely divergent with the regular market direction. This actually called when I said it was showing bullishness, but then I was wavering back and forth because this whole thing, while the market melted up, was showing us this bearish divergence all the way down to here. And then we turned, coinciding with the time as the market started to sell off, right? Hitting the top. So, and I attribute this, and I have to look more into it in full detail, but I attribute this to the fact that there is so much distortions placed in with the money printing and the rig job that the Fed is doing. Fed is not your friend. I do not believe that the Federal Reserve Bank is interested in maximum employment and inflation rate below 2.5. They are lying to you. Okay, they are full of CRAP. Okay, so this is our McClellan Summation Index, and as it gets more bullish, the market starts to sell off. And so that is the changes in things. And I think until those dislocations and complete rig job that has been placed into the marketplace works itself out on this next correction, I think the McClellan Summation Index is going to be divergent. Let's look at gold. Well, gold broke out and then topped for now. Okay, folks, we are topping right into here. I think we're going to be going to this trend line and then coming right below into the 20 SMA, maybe down into the 100 SMA for now. And that is because of the continuous manipulations in the physical gold market. Markets cannot, as it's correcting, the gold market cannot corroborate the problems that are inherent within the banking system. And I do believe there is significant problems in the banking system. All right, here's our 10-year Treasury yield. Look, the 10-year Treasury yield, I said either we're going to break down and start coming down. And I thought maybe if that was the case, the markets are seeing favorably of the Trump landslide win. But on the backside, I was thinking about the fact that, well, if the powers that be are resigned to the fact that Trump is going to win the presidency come November, well, they're going to crash the market and blame all of the financial problems that has already been built in, that has been created under Biden on Trump. And I believe that's the case. I think we have bottomed here. I think this bottom right here that we formed, okay, I think we're going to move higher. I think we're going to have to test this trend line above. But, anything about 42.50, remember, the Fed wants to keep the TNX 10-year Treasury yield below 42.50. And they tried, and that was the rig job that kept the banks going higher and higher. I think the rates are going to continue to explode higher because you can't argue against laws of mathematics. All right, U.S. dollar also bottomed, came into this volatility support range, and we're going higher. We got to get over this 20 SMA. I think this is the target into this box right now, okay? So enough of that. Let's move on forward to the VIX. I warned about VIX hitting this lower bounds, and we made the box. And I said, if we break out of here, it's going to get parabolic. And I think the ultimate target is going to be this 1925. And then if sell-off starts to gather steam. But by the way, this corrective phase is we're still not out of the woods. SPY 550.73 was an intermediate support, which got broken. Okay. However, it does not mean that the markets go down in a straight line. But eventually, I think once it gets above these levels, that's when we could start getting into the crash territory. It can happen very, very quickly. So be on the lookout. For those of you that missed the sell-off or the market top, even though we've been warning you about it, you have to wait for a counter trend bounce, and I think it's coming. Okay, you cannot FOMO into this. You're shorting the whole at this point. It'll be short-lived, but you got to catch that pop. Remember what I always say, short the pops. Okay, here's SPY. Let's go over the SPY technical analysis. We topped right here. Okay, RSI is divergent. We're finding support at this trend line. However, I think we are headed this week into the 538.71 level. This is a gap. There's a lot of gaps here because of the rigory that's been happening. But this is pretty much where the rig job started happening, right at the 524. I think this sell-off has legs, and it's going to take these levels out very, very quickly. Look at the rises in sell volumes that are present. Let's just go over real quick. The MACD has a bearish crossover. Histogram is negative. CCI is divergent and directional, and not divergent, but signaling directionally to the downside, and there's more meat on that bone. It can go all the way down to this area right here. So there's a lot more impulsivity built into this. Stochastic has rolled over. And it's gaining steam. So there's a lot of things happening. PPO-ADX is forming the bearish cup formation. We have topped accumulation. We topped out. It's going to be selling off. But you can see by this that the sell-off has just gotten started. Can they rig the market higher? Of course they can. Okay. I don't see how it's in the best interest of the powers that be, especially with, there's some rumors and news. It's not even rumors, facts circulating around. Some of the big hedge funds, including BlackRock, was shorting DJT, which is Truth Social, Donald Trump's company, right before the assassination. But they got their puts smoked. Okay, so but I think that may be what's maybe happening here. And we'll see. All right, I don't want to get too political, and I'm not. I don't want to get involved in that discussion, but the fact is that we have broken out of this golden trend line, and we're going higher. So that means that the trend has changed and it's getting directional. Okay, so that's our SPY for the daily. Here's the weekly that I wanted to show you. It's a little bit better. We had one full week of a bearish engulfing candle. We topped out on the RSI, and these are the targets, guys. If you don't think we're going to hit these levels, we're going to do it. It's not going to go down in a straight line, and the bounces are going to be sharp. And it may not just be intraday, it could be going on for a couple of days, okay? We did finish our monthly options expiration, so, there's been a lot of volatility. That's only going to increase. I think we're going to hit this probably beginning of this week, come down into this 80 MA, and that needs to hold, folks. If it doesn't, we're going right down to the 525, which I think is the likely target into this 520 to 515 for this week, unless things get really impulsive. But on this weekly, we got the MACD death hook forming, negative divergence, negative divergence. CCI has topped out, and now we're coming back down, okay? Stochastic is saying there's a directional change. PPO ADX, my favorite indicator, is bearish. We have basically divergences forming under accumulation. They're beginning to sell it off. Remember, this is very, very early in the process. I believe anyone that's bought has already bought. Okay, let's look at QQQ. Even worse, RSI is like fully directional. QQQ has been warning. The techs are just absolutely beaten down to a pulp at this point. And we're coming back down. We're targeting probably this level into this gap. There's gaps galore. There's some gaps down here into this area. I believe we can come all the way down into this area. Notice these blue arrows. Look at those rising sell volume. MACD is fully directional. Histogram is negative. CCI is bearish. Stochastic is bearish. It's just getting started, folks. Look at this PPO ADX. Nice cup formation, downward cup, which is bearish. We have they're selling this stuff off, okay? All right, folks. All right, now you see what the playbook looks like. Here's a QQQ. Daily looks like crap, but on the weekly, yeah, we had a topping, and then we had a follow through last week. I think we're targeting this area, 454. For those of you trading QQQ, these blue boxes are where I think the basically unfinished businesses reside, and I think these can be taken out very, very quickly. If you look at also the MACD, we're forming a death hook. Negative histogram. CCI is bearish, even though it's in the overbought situation. Stochastic is negative. Boys, this is all negative, okay? That's what we got, all right? Let's look at the sectors. All right, so what's happening with our sectors? The financial sector is the strongest sector, but they're beginning to sell off, right? What happened to our tech? Remember what I said about communication? It's at top two. Now that and technology is taking a back seat to all this, right? Look at this. All right, we've been warning you. We've been shorting in this area. We've done well with not Avagio, ASML, Nvidia, Spotify. I mean, the list goes on. And remember our end phase and our Netflix. That's still ongoing, folks, because they're pricing in a Trump victory, and Trump is going to deleverage those alternative sectors, energy sectors. All right, so that's kind of what we have. I mean, if you look at communication sectors, and then we change this around, we have fixed telecommunications, but internet, okay, has been holding. Publishing companies are weak, okay. Well, let's see what happened on the internet side, okay. Let's change the strongest sector, okay. Which companies are the ones that basically been taking it up on the chin, okay. We got Trump Media, right? Remember, they were shorting that ahead of the assassination. For those of you with a conspiracy hat on, you got to watch Trump Media. It's going to get interesting. I'm telling you that Netflix is going to continue to sell off, okay? So if you missed the Netflix earnings, there's still a lot of meat left on this bone. You just got to be a little careful. And so this is kind of what I wanted to kind of show you, okay? So let's go into Netflix really quick. Netflix reported earnings. There's some, like I said, and I posted something on the x.com about the Netflix, but Netflix's subscriber growth is lackluster at best. Okay, this is part of my consumer demand destruction. This red box is where I expected last week to get in. So there was a little bit of a pump and then a dump, right? Short the pops, okay? And so we're holding some put positions on this. And I believe once it gets through this red volatility box, I think it's going to get to the prior gap fill region all the way down into this area next week, into the 580, 570 range, all the way down into the gap window. And if this sell-off widens, we're gonna fill this probably sometime next week or the following week. Okay, so that's my target on Netflix. Let's look at CMA, which is Comerica. You've heard me talk about Comerica. If you haven't seen my video about the potential bank failures, this is one of my top candidates. I've been telling you that Comerica was topping, RSI is negative. This is what happened after the earnings, found support at the 200. Now it gets rejected under 150 SMA. There's a lot of meat left on this bone. MACD is about to form a death hook. Boys, this is going to go way below the 40. It's probably going to go at least back to the 35. This is a company that has a lot of exposure on the commercial real estate, okay? And their loss reserves were not mentioned in the earnings, but it's got to be high, okay? And I think that's Wall Street is figuring it out. CCI is negative. Stochastic has turned. PPO ADX. Pay attention to this. When you see these, there's a lot more meat left on this bone. Fed has been pumping. Remember, I talked about this. This is an evidence of artificial pump job on the stock, and now it's even gone higher as it's selling off. Why do you think that is? Okay, if you're buying more as the stock is coming down, and this rig job right here is suspect, guys. Once they stop buying, this is no more than a $12 stock, if that at all. ATR just exploded higher, which means that the directional changes occurred with force, and there's going to be more downside coming on this. Amazon is reporting earnings in a couple of weeks. Prime Day came, and I've always said post Prime Day is usually a sell-off, and boy, did we get it. We're coming into this volatility box regions. RSI is negative. There's a lot of meat left on this bone, folks. MACD has crossed over. It's negative. CCI is getting a little bit more overbought. So expect a little bounce. You short the bounce maybe to the 50 SMA. All right. XLF. Okay. This damn thing. I think they're going to be losing the Fed support for now. Okay. Because if Trump is going to win, I think one of the things is that since the market is pricing that in, the powers that be will scare the bejesus out of you, I think. And they're going to blame this market crash, which has been engineered a long time coming, I think, on Trump. Okay. Consumer demand destruction. Banks are pretty much insolvent. Everything going on. There's a death hook forming. CCI is getting negative. Guys, the bank sell-off is just getting started, and the crash or the sell-off cannot occur without participation of the financials to the downside. Okay. Palantir. I've been very bullish on Palantir, folks, but I think for the time being, I think we're hitting the top end of Palantir. We're getting some divergences here. I think Palantir needs to retest this 2650 all the way down to 2405. And if they can successfully defend that, I think this cup in a handle pattern, I think it's going to come back and retest the breakdown area. Okay, so I'm bearish. I was bullish, and now I am waiting for a pullback. I think long term, I'm super bullish on this stock, but MACD is negative. Histogram is coming down. CCI time is up. It could not break above 30, but we did have a breakout. Okay, now all these tail candles are telling you it's ready to break down. PPO ADX is signaling bearishness. There's been accumulation, but now you see some sell-off coming. If the ATR starts coming back down, we're going to have continuous sell-off happening. Tesla. All right, so Tesla, it's still early. They're reporting earnings. This is one of my favorite earnings targets. Last week was at Netflix and CMA, Spotify, ahead of everything else. But now this is what I'm looking at. Everything is bearish, folks. This thing just went parabolic after I told you that it basically bottomed. I'm looking for Tesla to kind of have that summer melt up higher, and it sure did. It didn't melt up. It went parabolic. And now we have a sell-off in progress. And if you look carefully, you can see that there is a potential head and shoulders on the daily. And where is that? I'm making it up. I think that's the head and shoulders that's forming. Realistically, this is going to continue to sell off, and this is my earnings play right here. MACD negative, everything's going to sell off. It's telling you a big move is coming on Tesla. Look at Tesla on the weekly. Daily looks pretty bad. On the weekly, it's Look, it really hasn't done anything. It's just the move just started. I think we're getting some negative divergences here. We have some sell-off volumes forming. Tesla is my big play of the week. Okay, you do your own research. We have some flattening out of the MACD histogram. I think the CCI is like super overbought. Stochastic is turning over. Early signs of a PPO ADX turnover. But look at this. There's been basically distribution of Tesla stocks as the stock was moving higher. There's a crash coming on this one, folks. All right. So that's kind of what I have. I do want to go over the earnings. It's going to start getting juicy over the next 3 weeks, starting with this week. I really like Tesla and Alphabet. Okay. I think you got to keep an eye on Visa, but Capital One is one that may follow in the footsteps of CMA. Comerica. The other one is Chipotle. I know they did this crazy 50 for one, but all stocks sell off there. ServiceNow, I think with the recent CrowdStrike issues and IBM, I think those two are going to be bearish, and I'm going to keep an eye on those. And then, of course, on Thursday, really the one that you really wanted to pay attention to is this Deckers and Sam Adams. For some reason, Sam Adams is not being carried at most of the retail supermarket chains. Okay, and so I don't know what the backlash there is. If anyone knows, please comment below and let me know. But there's something going on. So I'm bearish on those names. Okay, and so that's what we've got in terms of that. And then so here's the summary. Keys to next week. President Biden stepping down from re-election continues to put the Democrat Party in turmoil. Powers.be mostly cover, I think, the left-wing movements. And if Trump victory is all but certain, expect the markets to continue to have turmoil. Expect the rigged, alphabet soup agency numbers to come in hotter than they normally were, more bearish. I think... Fed cutting rates is not going to be in response to helping the economy. I think they're going to panic and cut, and that's going to cause further panic. Okay, be careful what you wish for. Events do not happen randomly, and markets have been pricing in a Trump victory, like I said. Hence the market melt up over the last few weeks, and that led to the market top. MSI is divergent. There's no way to cook it. Dislocations in the marketplace has created this monster, and it's going to take some significant market sell-off to bring McClellan Summation Index in line again. I'm super bearish on Netflix, Amazon, CMA. Finally, there's a lot of meat left on the bone. XLF, SPY, QQQ, Nvidia, ASML, Avagio. I forgot to put Tesla in there. But we are overbought, and the market keeps getting overbought. That's what I said last week. And now markets are in full correction, started by breaking this SPY 550.73. Is there a potential earlier in the week for the market to back test to that level to see if it can break out and get all the bulls hot and bothered? They may, and that is your opportunity to short the market. Okay, I was very bullish on Palantir. I still am on the longer term, but I think there is a correction coming on Palantir. I think it would be a fantastic buy if it comes down to 21 to 22. If you're doing that, not financial advice, but you need to check that on your own or join my membership group. Looking for signs of trend change? We got it this week, right? Internet sector is going to get walloped. It's been the strongest sector, especially Meta, Google, Spotify, Netflix. I mean, going forward, I'm bearish on these names. TNX and dollar has bottomed and it's moving higher. Watch for VIX explosion. Okay. VIX is telling you something. Gold and silver markets, I think that's in response to the powers that be and not wanting gold to scare the bejesus out of everybody and turning this market even more bearish, right? So if you miss the sell-off, you have to wait for a counter trend bounce, okay? Wait for the stall at the top and then focus on indexes and the stocks that we mentioned, or do your own due diligence. Sell-off will be sharp and swift through mid-August, in my opinion. Okay, so what we got is a situation where I need to thank you for watching this video. Subscribe, obviously. Follow us on Galaxydoc Market at x.com. Like us, share us, comment, good and bad. I like it. If you want to work with us, with me actually, and you want to learn about joining our group, please email me at coachbrandon@protonmail.com. Otherwise, be careful out there. But hey, guys, it's here. All right, take advantage of it and don't try to buy the dips here. Okay, all right, sounds good.